Hello and welcome to another video. This is the 18th episode of the story in which Jiraiya and Tsunade are supposed to watch over Naruto, but instead Orochimaru takes care of him. How will this affect others as well as both of them? What will it mean for Konoha? This story was written by Brown Phantom. Kindly support him, her. Like and subscribe to help to support videos. Let's start this show. You didn't really think we came unprepared for your demonic chakra, did you? One of the enemy ninja asked Fu. Oh, I'm not stupid, but you don't know what all I can do. Fu taunted. And now your position has been given away. The assaulting ninja grimaced at that, realizing her chakra was meant to be a beacon for backup more than anything. So much of their plan had been based on catching her alone and off guard. They could handle her not being one or the other, but not both. Not on guard and with support. Our only hope is to act fast. The leader of the group, a man named Suayan, thought. Everyone, suppress her now. Oh no, you don't. Fu said before she took a deep breath. Ninja art ash from a solar flare dust jutsu. She exhaled an arc of yellow powder that quickly ignited the oxygen in the area and reflected the light from the ignition at the same time to create what looked and felt like a solar flare. Instead of hitting the ninja, it hit the building behind them, but they were blinded by the jutsu and unable to see that. The building's wall cracked and fell over, burying them in rubble before they knew what was coming. That was very disappointing. Fu told herself. They went down that easily and yet they thought they could restrain me? Dumbass. The altos appeared beside her. Everything okay? Yeah, just 4 idiots trying to capture me. And there should be at least 2 in the lower apartment that need to be taken too. I'll go get those ones if you want to dig these 4 out. Fu replied. Morning came and Naruto was the first to wake up. Hinata did not want to let go of him, and if he didn't know better he'd swear she was using chakra to reinforce her hold on him. Well, there's no real reason I have to get up right now. He told himself, relaxing in his wife's embrace. Then there was a knock at the door. Except maybe that. He mentally groaned. Despite his desire to stay in bed, Naruto decided to get this over with. A quick use of ghost body allowed him to escape Hinata's hold and he went to the door, keeping the bloodline active since he was at the moment too lazy to turn it off. Yeah? He asked when he opened the door. Before him were 2 men, both wearing black robes with red clouds decorating them. Aside from that they looked nothing alike. One looked normal with black hair, but the other had a blue face and blue hair. Both wore hitayatesh that had slashes across their symbols. One wore the symbol of Konoha and the other bore the symbol of Kiri. Naruto Uzumaki? The black-haired man asked. Sorry, you have the wrong room. Naruto said before closing the door. Whoever they are, they can only be bad news. How do I keep them from getting Hina-chan involved? 2 seconds later the door to the room was broken and the 2 ninja went inside. They saw it was empty. The only signs that anyone had been in there were some ruffled blankets and tossed clothes. Damn kid sure is fast Itachi. Maybe not Kisame. I can still hear breathing. Holding their own breaths, the 2 listened closer. This time Kisame heard it too, noting it was very steady, as if someone was simply asleep. Itachi activated his Sharingan, and on the bed he saw a blur that hadn't been there before. A dull blue blur, like chakra but out of focus. Nice try making yourself invisible, Naruto, but no genjutsu can overpower the Sharingan. Itachi stated. Naruto came back into visibility, seated on the empty bed. Who said I used a genjutsu? And just because you haven't seen a genjutsu that can overpower your eyes doesn't mean such a genjutsu doesn't exist. Or ever will, even if not in your lifetime. True, but you are still coming with us. Can I at least ask where you intend on taking me? Naruto asked. You can, but we're not telling. Kisame said. Then I guess I won't tell you where I'm going. Naruto said before getting off the bed and running to the wall, running right through it much to their surprise. Did he just dash? Kisame asked. No time, capture him. Itachi said, and the two missing nin followed the now white-haired boy. Neither one of them noticed that the breathing they heard had really come from Hinata, who was invisible thanks to a jutsu Naruto could use only in ghost body. Itachi never noticed her because Naruto's chakra signature blocked her own when he sat on the bed. And as long as Naruto didn't return to the hotel or she stayed asleep, they would never know she had been there in the first place. Invisible, Naruto hid just outside the hotel breathing as quietly as possible. This invisibility won't work for long since one of those guys has a Dojutsu. But I don't dare switch Kekkai Genkais now and leave myself vulnerable for 9 seconds. On the other hand, I have maybe 6 minutes at the most left with Ghost Body. I have to get rid of them or hide well enough to switch to something more effective than my scare tactic bloodline. If one of them has a Sharingan, that will make things tough. Right then something in Naruto's mind clicked. Wait, Sharingan? Could that have been Dash? He was cut off by Itachi appearing suddenly in front of him. Found you. Now come with us. He began to raise his hand as if to poke Naruto in the eyes. Naruto avoided him by moving through the wall behind him, saving him from Itachi's attempted genjutsu. Interesting. He has powers we were not informed about. This will complicate things. Where is he? Kisame asked, appearing beside his partner. He went back inside, going right through the wall, might I add. Kisame raised an eyebrow. Is that even possible? I'm just telling you what I saw. In one of the rooms designed to hold Odo's prisoners 2 men were seated. To be more precise, they were tied up to their chairs. In front of them was a masked woman with long brown hair and a white mask covering her entire face. Hello gentlemen. I am sure, the head of this village's TNI department, meaning I'm the best at cracking your heads open and getting the secrets you don't want me to know. Ooh, I'm so scared. One of the men sarcastically taunted. Not yet, but you will be. Sure told him, then grabbed 2 spikes, the kind used when building railroads, and a hammer. Want start off simple and painless, or do I need to work my way up to sheer agony? Hit me with your best shot. The second man told her. Wish granted. Sure said before she placed one of the spikes over that man's right foot, which thanks to being tied to the chair he couldn't move. With a single strike of her hammer, she pounded the spike through his foot into the floor. The man was obviously hurt, but he suppressed any scream. Trying to be tough, huh? That's nothing new to me. Sure commented, looking over the man. This one she just hurt was wearing a white hood and a black lower face mask, making his green eyes the only identifying features he had. Part of her wanted to remove his hood and mask, but she left them on, out of concern he had some sort of trap that would go off in such an event. Some ninja did have those on their person so the enemy couldn't examine their bodies if they died. Other than that, he wore a black cloak with red clouds and sported a /Taki Hitai 8. That shit won't work on me. I relish pain. Jashin-sama loves it. The other man told her. His face was openly revealed, but his most identifying feature was his slick silver hair. He wore the same outfit the masked man wore but no Hitai 8 was visible. Sure guessed his was slashed as well and wondered if he came from Taki like the others. Then let me give you what you want. Sure said before pounding her second spike into his left foot. Fuck, that hurts. Damn it. This man apparently enjoyed pain much less than he had claimed. You'll never get anything out of us. The masked man stated. I can try. Sure said, putting down her hammer and grabbing a black kunai, twirling it with her finger in the loop at the end. See this? This kunai is carved from obsidian. Obsidian can be especially dangerous since even if it's poorly sharpened it can still cut like a razor. Meaning the hole, cut you with a dull knife threat is still lethal with this weapon. For an interrogator you're doing a poor job. You should be asking us questions, not showing off your toys. The masked man stated. Oh, I know how to do my job. You want questions? Here's one for starters. I'm told you two were trying to abduct a girl last night, but you fell victim to the traps she has in her house. Tell me, why were you after her? The silver-haired man laughed. You seriously have to ask that? Fuck, you're a dumbass bitch. We were after her because she's a Jinchuriki. How did you find that out? Sure asked. From those stupid Extaki nin. The masked man told her. We came across them on our scouting missions and they said they intended to take Taki's renegade Jinchuriki and offer her as a trade for the hero's water. Since we were looking for Jinchuriki we decided to assist them, only until the Jinchuriki was actually in possession. So those 4 arrested are separate from you, just tools to make finding and capturing her easier. Sure noted. How did you find her or this village? The silver-haired man smiled. That was easy. We checked Taki's records to get a description of the Jinchuriki and found out she was in a village named Oto. Someone in our group had a sleeper agent stationed here, so they were woken up and came to us to tell us how to get here. A sleeper agent in Oto? How did that happen? Sure asked herself. So with the agent getting here and finding her was a breeze. The one thing we were misinformed on was how well protected her home was. The silver-haired man added. Why were you after her? Why would you want a Jinchuriki? Sure asked. We'll never tell. Sure pressed an intercom button. Bring me the stuff needed for a waterboard. Yes, Sure-sama. The voice on the other end replied. Still refused to tell? Sure asked, crossing her arms. I'm not afraid of water. Me neither. Who are you working for? Sure asked. The masked man looked amused. You want to know? Okay. We work for a group that intends to harness the power of all Jinchuriki for ourselves. With it, we can have everything. Money, and other stuff of course. You and your money. The silver-haired man said, rolling his eyes. Jashin-sama has no need for such mortal vices. Your so-called deity wouldn't know how to pour piss out of a boot if the instructions were written on the heel. The masked man claimed. Obviously these two are assigned together rather than working by choice, meaning this group of theirs is organized rather than random, and whoever makes the decisions must be capable of reinforcing their choices to make them work together despite their friction. Sure noted. How do you plan to use the Jinchuriki? We don't. We plan to kill them and take their bijou away. The masked man answered. The door opened and in came an alto carrying a bucket and a blanket. Here you go, Sure-sama. They said before leaving. Good luck. I know for a fact we have to be on our backs for the full effects of this torture method, and with our feet stuck to the ground that can't be done in these chairs. The masked man stated. Then I'll have to cut the feet off. Sure countered, holding her obsidian kunai. Unless you want to tell me what your real goal here is. You don't believe us? The silver-haired man asked. I was taught never to take the first answer at face value, especially when I don't have to work hard to get it. Sure claimed. Torture us all you want, you cannot kill us. We will escape from here, kill you, and be back for the Jinchuriki. The masked man insisted with conviction. Sure put down her kunai. Damn, they forgot the other thing I wanted. Wait right here, gentlemen, I won't be long. She said before leaving the room. That should get them to sweat a little. If not, what I have in mind sure will. Going to the supply room, she grabbed what looked like a cattle prod you plugged into the wall. She came back to the room 2 minutes after she left, but both of her captives were gone. Back inside the hotel, Naruto found himself in someone else's room. A young woman in her 20s who was in the process of getting dressed. Fortunately for Naruto, she couldn't see him, but if he messed up she'd hear him. Closing his eyes, Naruto moved as quietly as possible to walk out the room. Thank you, Haku-chan, for the silent killing lessons with your dad. I really owe you one now. He opened his eyes and found himself in the hall. Okay, now's my chance. He deactivated Ghost Body and began the countdown to the next time he could activate another bloodline. 1. Before he could get to 2, Itachi and Kisame appeared at both ends of the hall, trapping him. Crap. Good, you realized the futility of hiding from my eyes. Itachi stated. Let me ask you one thing, are you Itachi Uchiha? Yes. The same Itachi Uchiha who allegedly killed an entire clan by himself in one night? Naruto added for emphasis, but mostly to buy him more time. How many Itachi Uchiha do you know? The missing nin rhetorically asked. Naruto stepped forward. As much as I'd prefer to run, I promised someone important to both of us I would try something if I ever encountered you. Looks like now's my chance. He didn't show it, but Itachi was curious. Who could possibly be close to both of us? Why waste time talking? Let's just subdue him and get out of here. Kisame insisted. Not so fast, I want to hear this. The rogue Uchiha stated. They said they know why you did what you did, but do you truly know why you had to do it? Naruto asked Itachi. Itachi looked confused, then bothered. I don't know who you're speaking for, but if you're implying what I think you are, then you and this person are too late to do anything about it. I did my part, the rest is up to you. Naruto replied. Please, let it already be 9 seconds. Yes, I will. Itachi said, ready to use his Sharingan to overwhelm the younger boy's mind. At that moment Naruto managed to activate his Neo Sharingan. Doing so protected him from Itachi's genjutsu, but it would take more than that to get out of this mess. The Uchiha noted the whiskered blonde's now orange eyes. Confused, he ultimately decided it wasn't going to save the boy. Tsukuyomi. Extreme Tsukuyomi. As expected, Itachi found himself in a barren landscape lit only by a red moon overhead. What he didn't expect was for Naruto to not be bound in any form. Nope, the blonde looked as free as he himself was. I had a feeling you'd try that. Luckily now the playing field is even. Naruto said, standing before Itachi with his arms crossed. You've used Tsukuyomi against me at the same time I used it on you. Itachi realized. 2 genjutsus clashing like this are bound to cancel each other out, especially such similar ones. Naruto nodded. True, but my eyes are designed to counter your own. So I designed my genjutsu to keep us here for as long as I want, up to 72 hours of course. In that time we both are free to do whatever we want. Then I suppose us fighting each other would in the long run prove pointless. Itachi noted. Naruto shrugged. Maybe. So instead of fighting, let's talk. What do we have to say to each other? Itachi asked. I'll tell you who the message came from if you tell me why you're after me. Naruto stated. I suppose that can be done, since you knowing won't change a thing. The Uchiha commented. I am part of a group of A to S ranked missing nin banded together, working to collect all the demons sealed inside others so our leader can use them to end the ninja system once and for all. By killing off all other ninja, leaving you guys the only ones left? Naruto asked, not liking the idea one bit. Someone has to remain to ensure there are no other remnants. Itachi stated. Basically it's the whole world domination ploy. Naruto summarized. Most people outgrow that idea by the time they're 6. Most people don't have the power to make it possible, but we do. Itachi countered. And you actually think the others in your group are going to share this power? Naruto asked. You said these are missing nin of very high rank all working together for a common goal. Even I know that you don't become a missing nin by being cooperative. You're all cooperating now because it suits your intentions, but once that's no longer necessary someone is going to decide to keep the power for themselves. I'm well aware of that. Itachi confirmed. So you're working in an organization that's pretty much a ticking time bomb, and that organization intends to destroy our entire way of life? Naruto clarified, not buying it. Why would you think this is a good idea? You wouldn't understand. Anyway, I've upheld my part of the deal. Now you tell me who your contact is. Alright, it's someone you should be quite familiar with. Your mother. Naruto answered. Itachi's eyes hardened dangerously. Don't lie to me, boy. I'm not. Your mother survived your little slaughter and has been with my allies all this time. She's like an aunt to me, and she taught me how to do this genjutsu we're in right now. Naruto replied. You lie. Itachi repeated. Why would I lie about that, Itachi? You could just as easily prove me wrong if I was. And let's face it, after this you're going to be tempted to confirm whether or not she's dead. Naruto said, fearless. He's right. Try as I might to ignore it, he's planted a seed of curiosity in my mind now. Itachi thought. But if you were to let me go, I could get your mother to greet you somewhere specific so you can see for yourself. As long as you're not going to finish what you started 6 years ago. Why should I believe you? Itachi pressed. Because I'm your own chance. Naruto answered. Interested? In the outside world only mere seconds had passed without Itachi or Naruto showing any interaction. Kisame stood off to the side waiting for Naruto to fall limp so they could take him to aim. Naruto and Itachi jerked at the same time, and Kisame was ready to do his part. To his surprise, Naruto was as conscious and alert as ever. Itachi's genjutsu failed? Impossible. I don't know what you did, but we still will bring you in. Itachi declared. Let me get him, Itachi. The boss needs him alive, but the boy doesn't need legs or anything for what we'll do to him. Kisame offered. What will stop him from bleeding to death then? Itachi asked his partner. Kisame didn't have an answer for that. Naruto leaned against the wall, feeling tired from the extreme Tsukuyomi. But just when he deactivated his Neo Sharingan to conserve chakra, something he hoped not to see came into sight. Naruto-kun? Hinata! Run! He shouted at his wife who was at the end of the hall. Ah, so he wasn't here alone after all. Kisame noted with glee. Without another word he came right at Hinata, almost too fast for her to see. On reflex Hinata activated her Byakugan and attacked him with the Suridoken. To her horror, it appeared to have no effect on him. Nice try, little girl, but I've got too much chakra for one Hyuga technique to affect me. Kisame announced. I've been called a bijou without a tail because of my vast chakra. He is bleeding chakra, but his reserves are keeping his body from being in any immediate danger. This guy won't go down easy, even if I use the Juken instead. Hinata considered, eyeing his chakra network. Naruto ran past Itachi and stood defiantly between his wife and the fishman. Try anything and I'll kill you. Kisame looked amused. I'd like to see you try. I'll even give you a free shot. Naruto was grateful for that and started a series of false hand signs to buy him time to use a different Kekkai Genkai. I have to make this one count, or else we're finished. Done with the fake hand seals, Naruto chose one more bloodline to use. He cocked his fist and punched Kisame in the stomach. The ex-Kiri Nin didn't feel a thing. Is that it? Kisame taunted. It's enough. Just wait a few seconds. Naruto replied. Bad idea, kid. Going for a delayed react dash, Kisame started, but suddenly disappeared into his clothes which billowed down to the floor. Itachi was quite surprised. What did you do to him? It's like Kisame just vanished. Look for yourself. Naruto insisted, holding his out to point at the robes, where something began to squirm under them. Curious, Itachi came over and moved the robes. Under them he saw Kisame, but he no longer looked normal. Instead, the shark-like shinobi looked like a 1-year-old baby. What in the world? Itachi asked, using his Sharingan to see any deception but found none. At that moment he felt someone punch him. Oh crap, I inadvertently gave Naruto an opening. But I thought he Itachi couldn't finish that thought, for he too became an infant. Heh, I knew age control would come in handy in fights. Naruto stated, looking very worn out. The one flaw to age control is the effect isn't instantaneous. The subject ages or de-ages slowly rather than right away. I can make the process quicker but that results in a delayed start first. What was going on Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, coming up to him to support him since it looked like he didn't want to stand up anymore. Naruto sat down in the hall with her next to him. Long story short, these guys are from some group trying to collect Jinchuriki. I tried to get them away from here so they wouldn't harm you, and I tried to find out more about them at the same time. Turns out one of these guys is Subsonic's older son. The one that tried to kill her? Naruto nodded. I was able to get a lot of information out of him. He was either overconfident or merciful, but he told me what the threat was. I threw him for a loop by telling him he could see his mother alive again if he let me go today. Why would you do that? Hinata asked. He's an S-ranked missing nin Hina-chan. Even with all my bloodlines there was never a guarantee I could get away from him. I had to find some sort of leverage over him and that was the only kind I saw. Naruto explained. Plus I wanted to see his reaction. If he cared about his mother or not. She may not say much about her sons but you know Subsonic cares for them both, even this one. But what do we do now? Hinata said, glancing at the two new babies. Can you summon a slug and have it take them to Oto? I'm too tired to take them there directly or summon anything myself. Naruto said. Using the extreme Tsukuyomi was tiring enough, but add in the several changes between bloodlines in such a short time and Naruto was worn out. Hinata nodded. Yeah, I'm in no mood for our personal time to be over just yet. Back in Oto, Tsunade was in a park watching her son Isato run around with a few other kids his age. She sat on a bench watching his every move but quite happy to just watch. My little boy, I'm so lucky to have you. I owe it all to Naruto, and of course Jiraiya for helping me conceive. I wonder what Dan would think if he saw me now, a mother and wife to my old teammate who's still perverted as hell but only acts on it around me. I bet he'd be happy for me and wish us all well. Dan was that kind of person. All of a sudden a large slug appeared in front of her, briefly startling her. Tsunade-sama, I have a delivery for you. From who? From a Hinata Uzumaki. The slug replied. Right then Tsunade noted that on the slug's back there were 2 black bundles containing 2 human babies and a note pinned to one of them. This should be interesting. Tsunade said as she took the children off the slug, seeing the blue skin on one and pure black hair on the other. Obviously not Naruto and Hinata's kids but that should be a given. She then read the note and the slug went away. Tsunade-sama, while we were relaxing here 2 missing nin attacked Naruto-kun this morning. Within the hour of you getting this note, assuming the slug gets to you quickly that is. One of them was positively identified as Itachi Uchiha. Oh, that could go bad so quickly. Tsunade thought. The other ninja wasn't positively identified, but he bore the symbol of Kiri. They came there to take Naruto-kun away with them, but they didn't seem to have any plans for me. Naruto-kun did his best to get them away, but couldn't do it for long. Naruto-kun said he was able to get some information out of Itachi regarding the plan. The Uchiha stated that there is an organization in existence that is working on taking all the Jinchuriki for themselves, and all members are missing Nin at a ranking of A at the very least. Is that what happened to Fu last night? Tsunade asked herself, not entirely clear on the details of that incident last night just yet. Naruto says he tried to talk Itachi into letting us go on the grounds that Subsonic could see him later at an agreed-upon time. He says Itachi initially agreed and was going to stage an accident to let us escape, but it didn't look like that was going to happen, so Naruto had little choice but to subdue them both completely. The two babies you see are the two Nin I'm referring to, subjected to age control. I trust your judgment in what to do with them until we return, though I should point out I think Subsonic should have a say in what to do about her son. See you when we return. And if you see any of the other girls, tell them to work on their stretches because I can barely walk without limping. That last part was more than I needed to know, but this is good. And bad. Tsunade thought. The good part is we're warned and can get prepared. The bad part is this group may be able to find Odo soon if they haven't already and put us all at risk, and with two members unable to report back they're going to see Naruto as a major threat to themselves and do something about him. Which makes me wonder if it's better in the long run to keep these two here under observation or return them to normal and let them go but therefore able to send others in their place later. Thinking it over, Tsunade couldn't come up with an answer. As she thought it over, Jiraiya came to her. Hey dear, what's this? Babysitting? Look at this, Jiraiya. She said, giving him the note before looking back to her son. The Toad-san Nin read the note. I see. The others aren't going to like this. Tell me something I don't know. Shizun's got a date tomorrow. Tsunade blinked and turned to him. Excuse me? That's something you don't know. Jiraiya joked. But this is more important. What have you been able to determine? Orochimaru asked Sure, Odo's version of Ibiki. It appears that 4 of the ninja captured last night originated from Taki Otokage-sama. Sure started. Technically, there are 5, but the 5th one was part of a separate group. You're in good company, you know. You can take the mask off. Orochimaru told her. Sorry, Otokage-sama, sometimes I forget it's even on. She said before removing her mask. Her face was pale but quite lovely. She had no unique features except for her light brown eyes and a small burn mark above her left eyebrow. Her hair was held back with clips in a way where only her left ear showed, her right ear covered by her hair. Age-wise she appeared to be in her 30s. So go on. What did you find, Shur-san? Or should I use your real name? Orochimaru continued. Shur shook her head. No, this is still business, so I prefer my business name. Anyway, 4 of the ninja that tried to abduct Fusan were excommunicated shinobi from Taki. Their original crime had been trying to steal Taki's famous secret tool, the Hero's Water. Apparently these 4 decided that they could trade Fusan to Taki for it. Taki probably would have accepted the trade, even if it meant going behind the Takage's back. Orochimaru thought out loud. But how did they learn where to find Fusan? This is the first breach of Odo's security. Sure nodded. That was my first concern too. As far as I knew, the only people who can find Odo are those who already have been to it. My original theories were the following, that these 4 or one of them were originally part of our village when it was founded, then disappeared to come back later, that they tricked the daimyo with a false mission request in order to be brought here, or that the inevitable discovery of our hidden village has already happened. So what did they say? Sure sighed. This is where it gets difficult, Otokage-sama. If what they said is the truth, it was neither of those. You see, I'm talking about 4 of the captives, but there were 6 arrested. The remaining 2, they were actually separate. They came here with the 4 to abduct Fusan, but they had no intention of bringing her to Taki. So 2 members had a separate agenda the other 4 were unaware of? Orochimaru asked. It seems so, but those two are the ones who found Oto. One of them said it was done via a hidden sleeper agent waking up. Sure responded. A sleeper agent? Someone placed a sleeper agent in Oto? When? Orochimaru asked himself. It had to be Taki. They always did intend to take Fu back when her training was adequate enough that they didn't have to do much more themselves for it. They must have known I knew their intentions and put in a contingency plan. But Oto-Kage-sama, the two captives that actually interacted with the sleeper agent, had no intention of bringing her back to Taki. Sure corrected. I think Taki is actually innocent in this. No one here was acting on Taki's orders. Then whose orders were they acting on? The Snake Sannin asked. The four original captives were acting on their own, like normal missing Nin. The brown-eyed woman asked. But the other two? I got the feeling that the only reason I got any information out of them was because they let me. They told me about the sleeper agent, they told me they were after Fusan, they told me it wasn't for Taki, and they told me they were coming back for her. How can they come back for her if they're trapped? Orochimaru asked. My thoughts exactly. As an interrogator, I know that something is wrong when the subject doesn't need to be tormented to get information out of them. The worst kind of person for us to encounter is not the one who refuses to talk, but the one who has no reason to withhold information. Such a person is basically telling us that even with information it's too late for us to do anything against them. And sometimes they're right. Let's hope now isn't one of those times. The pale ninja stated. So what happened next? This may not have been the wisest thing I could have done, but I wanted to test their conviction. Sure admitted. I left the room, using the whole, what comes next, tactic my old sensei taught me to get them to panic a bit, but when I came back they were completely gone. All traces of them, gone. Orochimaru got rigid in his seat. You didn't forget to lock the door, did you? Of course I locked the door. The formally masked woman confirmed. I tied them up, pinned their feet to the ground, I even had the equipment for waterboarding ready. When I got back the chairs were right where I left them, the spikes were still on the floor, and the door was still locked from the inside. It was as if the two had never been there in the first place. But the other four captives were still in their cells. It had to be clones. Highly advanced clones if they could withstand the physical pain of spikes through their feet. Orochimaru commented. It couldn't be genjutsu. That's your specialty. You would have seen right through it. However they escaped, they left a note that self-destructed. It said, we know where you are and what you have. Next time you won't be able to stop us. Sure added. Orochimaru took a calming breath. We will have to ensure Fu is safe for the time being. Same with Naruto since it's likely they will come for him too. Can you describe these two ninjas? Sure nodded. Yes. These were the two ninja that fell into Fusan's traps last night. One had silver hair and purple eyes, the other had a white hood and black lower face mask, making his green eyes the only part of him I could see. He wore a /Taki Hitayate, but I saw no Hitayate on the other. Both wore black cloaks with red clouds. When I asked who they worked for, they didn't give a direct answer. One said he was just trying to get money and I think the other said he was working for a Jashin-sama, which from the context I can only assume is some sort of pagan god. Both had high chakra levels, almost as high as your own if not higher. But both of their chakra felt unnatural. Unnatural how? Sure paused to think of the best way to describe it. I was sensing their chakras together, unable to determine which one was creating which type in the small room. But the feeling I got was, I can only describe it as cold and chimerical. Chimerical chakra? Orochimaru repeated. That's a strange term to use. It felt like there were more than two people's chakras blended together in that room, like someone had taken chakra from multiple chakra sources and mixed them together in one body. Like if Naruto was using all 9 of his Kekkei Genkai at once. The feeling would be chimerical to a sensor. Sure insisted. Whatever the proper term to use is, the important thing is we need to be prepared for a second attempt to kidnap our 2 Jinchuriki. For now sure, keep this under wraps. We don't want word getting out that Oto is no longer off the map so to speak. I'll tell the Altos so they can prepare accordingly. Yes Otokage-sama. By the way, off the record, what is the progress on my personal request? Sure asked. I'm already on it. You'll get your answer in less than a month, now that we have an expert to look into it. The Snake Sannin said with a grin. In Konoha several people were trying to regain a sense of normality, but at night they could sleep like always. But on this night, one family couldn't, or to be more precise, wasn't allowed. Damn it, what the hell are you doing? Unkai Kurama yelled as he fought off a pair of masked ninja who had broken into his home. Both wielded ninjato and he was fighting with a pair of kunai, forcing him to block more than go on the offensive. That is not for you to know. One of them stated before trying another slash at the Kurama clan head. Unkai blocked but this was just a decoy to divert his attention away from the other ninja who attacked from behind. Unkai blocked from behind without having to turn around. You think I got to be clan head by being weak? Unkai taunted. No, you got it because your brother and his wife died. You're just a seat filler. The second ninja replied. Then how come I'm still fending you off? Unkai rhetorically asked. Are you? The first ninja replied in the same tone. The attacks continued and Unkai kept blocking them both, but now his certainty was tested. Is he trying to mess with me? His words if true imply that they're only letting me fend them off. Which means... He silently gasped. Outside in the forest, Yakumo was currently running from her home. I have to find myself some cover, buy myself time to come up with a way to fight back. Yakumo had been awakened by an intruder breaking into her room and trying to apply chakra suppression seals to her before she could react. However, Yakumo's reflexes were much better than anticipated and she got out of her bed before the seals could make contact with her. On instinct she grabbed her sketch pad and made a run for the forest around her house, hoping to lure the enemy away from her home to avoid further damage to it. The artist came to a stop and hid behind a tree, trying to sense out her surroundings for her pursuer. Feeling a bit safe, albeit cold since she was out in her nightgown, she looked over her sketchpad. Okay, what do I have here I can use if I have to fight? I brought no weapons so genjutsu's my one tool here. She flipped over the cover, looking at drawings meant to be used as genjutsu mediums in place of her paintings. Paintings were more effective for her, probably because she could put more detail into them, but drawings worked too when she needed something quicker and more convenient to carry around. This one should work well, she said, settling on the first picture in the book. Once I find this person that is. Yakumo, am I too late? A familiar voice said before a familiar face appeared. Sigh. What are you dash? Not now, others might hear. The pale boy warned. I saw some ninja head this way and got concerned. You're not hurt are you? Yakumo shook her head. Good, come with me. Nodding, Yakumo followed her teammate as he tried to escort her back to the main part of the village where attacking her would be risky. Or at least, that's what he was supposed to be doing, for her sense of direction was telling her otherwise. Sigh, this is the wrong way. Yakumo whispered. No it isn't. He simply countered. Despite her gut telling her this was a mistake, Yakumo trusted Sai to help her. It also didn't hurt that she was a bit sweet on the boy since they had a common interest, art. Though Sai didn't seem to care about his art, he was talented, and that's what impressed her more than anything. She didn't have a crush on him, but she found him to be pleasant company compared to Shino. After they were away from the Kurama compound, in a forest that separated them from the basic streetwork of Konoha, Sai brought them to a stop. "Mission accomplished, Danzu-sama," he said to the trees. "What?" Yakumo asked, suddenly confused, and feeling something akin to, "I should have known," in the back of her mind. From out of the shadows, as if he had used a jutsu that made them hide him even better than they would have naturally, the bandaged crippled old man walked out into the moonlight. "Good work, Sai, as always." "Wait, I was told you were killed in the invasion," Yakumo managed to say, having been told Sarutobi and his elder advisors were all killed by the Oto and Tsunade. The deaths of Hamura and Koharu were the only ones that actually happened in public though. "Let's just say reports of my death were greatly exaggerated," Danzu said smugly, feeling a bit high on himself for having cheated the Oto shinobi who killed his double. Yep, the Danzu that the Oto nin had killed in his base was nothing more than a well-made double of his. Not a clone, but someone he cast a very high-quality genjutsu on to make them look like, sound like, and even have Sharingan like him, until moments after his death when the double's true identity would be revealed. Fortunately Danzu also had arranged it so a weaker genjutsu would trigger if the first genjutsu failed, keeping up the image of Danzu on the corpse, in order to deceive any people still around. And, basically he did to someone what Itachi did to Yura in the Gaara rescue arc. "Then why didn't you reveal yourself right after the enemy left?" Yakumo added. "A cautionary necessity, in case some remnants remained to kill more while we were frail. I suspect some such remnants are attacking your home now, and we should get you to safety." "What about my uncle?" "Forget him, he's unnecessary. You're the one who needs to be taken somewhere," Danzu said, and if his words were meant to comfort her they instead got the exact opposite result. "My uncle may mean nothing to him, but he means something to me, and I need to go get him," Yakumo thought before darting away. Sai was about to go get her. "Stop, Sai," Danzu ordered. "Danzu-sama? Let her go off. This will help break her down so I can build her up again in my image," the Warhawk said with a villainous grin. Yakumo ran back home, looking through her sketchpad in hopes of finding one of her drawings that would affect more than one person at once. A weakness of genjutsu is that by its nature it works best when done to a minimum of targets, preferably just one. Spreading it out was not impossible, but it diluted the chakra and weakened the illusion considerably. Sometimes enough that it was ineffective. So far, the only person known to be able to cast genjutsu on several people simultaneously without fail was the late Fugaku Uchiha. Yakumo's genjutsus, while no doubt powerful, were still basically genjutsu in terms of creation, so therefore they followed the same rules to start. It was merely the end result which was different than normal genjutsu. Her paintings allowed her to affect more than one person, but simpler pictures got better results than complicated ones. The more specific her art was, the harder it was to affect more than one person as intended. Sort of like trying to cut two people with just one swing of a sword. "Okay, this will do for 2 or more people," she said when she found a suitable drawing. When she got to her house, she froze. The two-masked ninja had Unkai cut and bleeding profusely and worn out enough that he was struggling to hold his head up. Once the Kurama clan head realized these two were merely a diversion, they stopped being a diversion and got serious in their attacks. Needless to say they broke through his defenses and now had him at their mercy. Unkai was on his knees with each ninja holding back an arm as if ready to rip it off. "Save yourself, Yakumo," he managed to yell out. "Don't even try it, girl. If you do we'll kill him, then go after you. And don't bother using one of your genjutsus on us, we'll be sure to kill him before you can get him away from us." The ninja holding Unkai's right arm back countered. Yakumo frowned, no longer the afraid-to-fight girl they were likely prepared for. "Don't bother, huh? I think not." She then showed them one of her drawings, which depicting two different sets of arms having their hands severed behind the wrists and blood spurting out. The results came far too quickly for the masked ninja's likings. Each felt a cut on their arms and saw their hands become severed, cut off by some unseen blade. They tried instinctively to break the genjutsu, but Yakumo's genjutsus weren't illusions, they were real. Some say art imitates life, but in my case life imitates art. She thought before putting away her sketchpad and running to her uncle. But before she could reach him, she felt a pull on her whole body, and her vision briefly blurred before she saw Danzu in front of her. "Enjoy your little escape?" he teased. What the heck just happened? Yakumo asked herself, and looked around only to find she was away from her home, as if summoned away. Not wanting to wait long enough to be given an explanation, Yakumo fled again, finding her way back to her home. The two masked ninja who lost their hands to her genjutsu were trying to stop the bleeding, but some masked comrades of theirs had arrived to finish the job, and Yakumo showed up as soon as one of them plunged a nodachi in one side of Unkai's neck and out the other side. The young brunette froze solid in horror, and had she been of less stable mind her ID demon might have come out right then. But thanks to Naruto, that wasn't going to happen, so she remained still, having difficulty accepting the sight she just saw. Right away the uninjured masked ninja left into the woods, leaving Unkai to drop to the ground. That snapped Yakumo back to reality and she went to him. Unkaiajizan. The man wasn't dead yet, but unless treatment was given he was about to be in a few moments. With his last bits of spare energy, he used his blood to write something on the cover of Yakumo's dropped sketchpad, then passed out. With teary eyes, Yakumo looked at his message. Safe, and, sound? What does that mean? Rather than get an answer, she felt a strange tug on her and she found herself in front of Danzu again, who was surrounded by the very masked ninja she had seen kill her only direct living relative. I hope you realize that escape is futile. You have nowhere to go, the rest of your clan won't take you in once I get involved, and even if you run, you will always come back to me. What are you doing? Why me? Yakumo asked, still crying and holding her sketchpad to her chest. You've been of great interest to me for a number of years. The ability to manipulate reality itself on the level you can, it's exactly the kind of power I crave. If you utilize it properly, you could slaughter enemy armies without wasting a single kunai. Maybe even control the very thoughts of people like daimyos without anyone being aware of it or able to prove it. With you in my possession, trained the right way, I can finally realize my destiny. Yakumo was stunned that his man saw her power as nearly godlike and intended to dominate her use of it like a tyrant. He saw her as a weapon of mass destruction and political corruption, and he fully intended to have sole say over how she used it. Something about his claim didn't make sense though, and once she realized that she frowned. Let me guess, the reason you weren't able to do anything to me sooner was because of my mental instability, right? Unfortunately yes. Thanks to your little split personality problem my training methods would have done more harm than good. The risk of you becoming a monster who'd use your powers against me was too great. But I never lost interest, so I had Sai placed on your team to monitor your progress and see if you ever showed promise. Yakumo looked at her smiling teammate, feeling a bit betrayed. All this time you've been spying on me? You knew what he wanted? Danzo-sama is the rightful ruler of Konoha. His will is law. Sai answered, still smiling. Now it bothered Yakumo more than it usually did. Now it seems you're mentally fit to undertake my training. Once I removed your emotional ties now and make it look like you died tragically so no one will search for you after tonight. Danzu added. Yakumo realized this was no ordinary kidnapping anymore. If anything this was closer to an abduction because Danzu had no intention of returning her after being given a ransom. No, he intended to keep her. And in case you're thinking of leaving again, don't waste your energy. Danzu warned. Years ago when Sarutobi was tending to your problem, I managed to place a seal on the back of your head under your hair where no one could see it. I couldn't take the Hiration for myself, but I was able to make this version that brings you to me rather than me to you. So any time you try to leave, past, present or future, I can make you come to me with little effort. Understand? That's all we needed to hear. A hidden voice said before a few blurs were seen and all masked ninja had their heads cut off by unseen assailants. Danzu, Sai, and Yakumo were spared but on high alert. How could someone get here without me knowing it? Danzu asked. He was close to revealing his main hidden Sharingan, i.e. the one actually in his eye socket, but he wanted to withhold that for later. He did get his right arm out of its holder though, but still wrapped up. One ninja appeared in front of Danzu, standing close to Yakumo. This was Mikoto Uchiha in her subsonic persona, this time sporting an Oto Hitai 8. She quickly grabbed Yakumo, placed a piece of paper on the back of her head, then substituted with a large rock, taking Yakumo with her. A two-person substitution with one inanimate object? Danzu asked himself, realizing what the enemy ninja had done. Never mind that, I can still get the girl. He tried to activate Yakumo's seal, but she did not appear before him. Damn, that shinobi has somehow negated the seal's power. Sai, start looking for her, they can't have gotten far. Not with a mere substitution jutsu, especially one that used more than one person. Yes, Danzu-sama. The pale boy said before departing. Danzu himself made a call out for more root, but not too many because he couldn't risk the rest of Konoha learning of what he was trying to do while they still believed he was dead. When the smoke cleared, Yakumo saw she was in a forest but nowhere near her compound. Nothing looked familiar. Where am I? What do you want from me? She asked, fighting Subsonic's grasp. To her surprise, Subsonic released her without a problem. Yakumo Kurama, there is no need to be afraid. She started. I've been watching Konoha for years, learning of the dark things the people running it have been trying to do without the populace knowing. I don't know everything, but I've known for years regarding Danzu's plans regarding you here. I couldn't act on your behalf sooner because of the very seal he placed on you. If I had, he would have been alerted and any chance at saving you might have been lost forever. But now that's no longer a problem. My only intention here is to release you from this seal that would result in only misery for you if it remains. How do I know I can trust you? Yakumo asked. Nothing I do can convince you right now, but not trusting me means Danzu will get his hands on you sooner or later. Subsonic told her. Looks like I have no choice, but something tells me that if this person wanted to control me, they wouldn't remove something that restricts me. Yakumo thought before submitting. Thank you. Now, since this seal on you is based on the Yondame's Hiration, that makes removing it difficult. Only someone of his caliber can remove it from you. Yakumo looked depressed by the claim, then heard someone approach. Or maybe the Yondame himself can remove it. Minato said as he came into view. Found them. Sai thought while kneeling in the bushes, looking at Yakumo, Minato, and a masked Kunoichi. He pulled out his scroll and quickly got to work on drawing some reinforcement. In the middle of his work, a number of kunai impaled his paper and ruined his drawings, making them unusable. Before he could draw any more or make a counter move, one of Subsonic's masked assistants came up behind the pale boy and knocked him out with a blow to the back of the head. One drawing got away intact, a black mouse that scurried as fast as it could move. Subsonic smiled and Yakumo was frozen in shock. We suspected that the seal was similar to the Hiration, but we couldn't risk removing it without full understanding. Which we never could get without drawing attention. Now we know for sure, and now we can remove it. Subsonic told the young Kunoichi. How could you even learn of my seal in the first place? Yakumo asked. That would be the work of my assistant Flat. Subsonic admitted. I never said I do this job alone. Minato knelt down and pulled off the paper stuck to the back of her head. This here was an anti-Hiration seal, one created by me in case my jutsu ever got used against me. No one in Konoha knows it exists, so the old man after you has no way to counter it. Before we go any further, I'll see if I can remove your seal here. Yakumo nodded and allowed him to check. He moved her hair as best he could to check on it, but it kept obstructing his view. It's no good, I can't do anything without shaving the back of her head first, and doing that here would be dangerous if someone from Konoha shows up. Our best bet here is to take her to Oto where I can work in peace. So no matter what, I'm being abducted tonight. Yakumo grimly concluded. Do I have any genjutsu that can fend off the yondaime? This is a rescue, not an abduction. Subsonic reassured her. Besides, there's someone in Oto who wants to see you. Someone we know you want to see too. That confused the genjutsu enthusiast. Who could that be? The only one from that village I have anything close to a connection to is the boy who healed my mind. Why would he want to see me again? Minato tensed. Hide. He quietly warned the two women. Subsonic nodded and substituted with a log taking Yakumo with her, while Minato used a flash step to dodge a wind jutsu coming from an unseen threat. That looked like a great breakthrough jutsu. He thought when he flash stepped back into place while Subsonic and Yakumo remained in hiding. Show yourself, Shimura, unless you're too feeble to do something without your root in front of you. Danzu emerged from the woods, glaring at Minato. You've got some nerve betraying the village you led and died for. Minato returned the glare 100-fold. The mere fact you feel I'm in the wrong for my decision, knowing full well why I made it, only proves my decision could not have been less wrong. I'm actually glad you're gone. Now I can take the Hokage seat for myself, which it should have been all this time. You'll have to live through the night if you want to be Hokage. Minato threatened. Danzu didn't look worried, instead he revealed his Sharingan but not his arm. You may be good at taking down armies Yellow Flash, but how good are you at fighting someone one-on-one? You're making a mistake, Danzu. Minato stated, not looking bothered by the claim Danzu just gave. I don't make mistakes. Mistakes are for amateurs. Danzu arrogantly declared, reading a series of hand signs. Wind-style vacuum blade rush jutsu. With a chakra-enhanced exhale, Danzu shot out 3 intersecting white blades of empty space that could theoretically cut through anything. Minato threw 3 trikunais around the area to give him some leverage. Using the first trikunai, he jumped to inside a canopy behind his opponent, avoiding the jutsu that cleaved several trees instead of him. Before Danzu could locate him, he charged a Rasengan and pounced at the old man's blind spot. Rasengan! Minato shouted. Inches away from his back, Minato in a shocking twist ended up going through the Warhawk's body. What? Landing on the ground, he quickly rolled and jumped to the second trikunai marker before Danzu could catch him off guard this time. Danzu smirked and turned around looking for Minato. Is something wrong? Can't hit an old man? Minato soon started to shiver, thinking of the night when Naruto was born and he faced the masked interloper who started everything that led to the present. He slowly looked at Danzu with hate. That was almost the same thing that happened 12 years ago. Tell me, Danzu. Minato's voice soon became dark, then he took a deep breath. Was it you? Are you that masked man that was responsible for Kyuubi attacking Konoha? Danzu merely raised an eyebrow. So the Kyuubi showing up wasn't random chance. It seems an Uchiha was truly responsible for that attack, an Uchiha that Namikaze was unable to defeat. Hearing this new piece of information made him decide to toy with the former Hokage. I'm flattered you think it might have been me, but sadly it wasn't. But tell me, Yondaime, Itachi Uchiha is with Akatsuki in there after the Bijou, so how do you know it wasn't Itachi who caused the attack? Itachi had nothing to do it. He was too young. So which Uchiha attacked Kushina? Minato replied. Slowly getting into a stance, he then charged towards Danzu using a spinning high kick from above. Danzu blocked the kick with both arms. Grabbing onto Minato's leg, he placed a Juinjutsu on the former Hokage, one meant to ensure the muscles in the affected area were frozen. "Now I got you." The Warhawk smirked, then Minato quickly vanished in a yellow flash, appearing back to the first marker. "Damn, he placed a Juinjutsu on me. Thinks I don't know this type of seal. Well, he's wrong," Minato thought. Quickly taking a normal kunai, he threw it to the ground near Danzo. Shadow Clone Jutsu. One clone appeared alongside Minato, and the clone dropped down to the ground, getting Danzu's attention. The real Minato quickly took out an ink brush and started to draw a few symbols on his leg. With a surge of chakra, the Juinjutsu was removed and he could use his leg again. "Let me tell you something, Yondaime, after I defeat you and show Konoha my power, the first thing I'm going to do is get the Kyuubi and turn its power on that feeble village you chose over Konoha." Danzu sneered. He charged towards the clone, certain he has a trump card against the former Hokage. Charging towards the clone, Danzu brought out a long blade kunai and quickly added his wind affinity to it. Still running, he thrust the wind-enhanced kunai down onto Minato's shoulder, slashing him in half vertically. "It's over, nothing can stop me now," Danzu thought with triumph, only to see Minato poof into smoke, making the old Warhawk grit his teeth. "Come on, Danzu, you didn't think I would be that easy to defeat, did you?" The real Minato chuckled. Appearing on the ground, Minato quickly delivered a punch to Danzu. Danzu quickly turned and twisted his body, dodging the blow. Minato, the faster of the two, was able to react properly and quickly attacked him from the side with a kick to the midsection. "Got you." The kick sent the cripple off his feet, skidding across the ground. "I guess I drew first blood." Minato chuckled, watching Danzu wipe the blood from his face. Obviously that arm of his isn't just dead weight. The way he moves himself shows it still helps balance him, but he keeps it away from his opponent when attacking or defending. Like he's protecting it. "I think it's time to show you the true might I possess." Unshackling the wooden straps on his arm, dropping them on the ground, he soon unrolled the bandage around his entire arm. Minato watched curiously, wondering what he did but also has. If one person controlled the Kyuubi once before, another can again, and that will be me. With this power I will control Konoha and Kyuubi. Minato stood there shocked to see multiple Sharingans implanted on his arm. An arm that was obviously surgically grafted onto him and was strongly discolored, as if it were unhealthy in some way. The Sharingan in his head won't have given Minato much trouble, but seeing multiple Sharingans on his pale arm and a strange face-like growth on his shoulder made the former Hokage wonder what the limits of this elder truly were. He didn't even want to know how the biology worked here. Wait a minute. He took a step back, eyes narrowing. Such an arm would have taken a lot of work to create and probably some prototypes first to even ensure it could actually function. There's no way you could have done this on your own, even with your secret soldiers. I was told you stole all of Orochimaru's research after he was forced to leave Konoha. You just proved that claim correct, and you used it on yourself. How long has Danzo been doing this? Working behind everyone's back, using someone else's hard work for his own gain. Does anyone have any idea? Did Sarutobi help him keep this under wraps? I'm not even going to mention how ironic the fact that he stole Sharingans for this is. Minato thought to himself. If you're expecting remorse, you'll find none here. Danzu claimed before pulling out a Nodachi and charging at Minato. This tactic greatly confused Minato, so he resorted to blocking it with one of his Trikunai. Up close, some tree limbs sprouted out of Danzu's body and began to engulf Minato. So he stole the Mokuton as well as the Sharingan. It's like he tried to give himself the powers of both Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, clearly from a desire to take Kyuubi for himself once he could find the fox. Minato thought before using the Hiraishin to get out of the tree cage. The wooden snares separated from Danzu's body and created a new tree in the ground. Danzu looked around and checked his arm. You can't escape me forever, Yondaime, especially since for now I'm unstoppable. In her hiding place, Subsonic was fuming. That lousy son of a bitch. So this is why he had the Uchiha clan killed? So he could steal our eyes and use them to become something too gross for a freak show? How can he even use them? I mean, does he really need that many to copy jutsu with? Yakumo asked, also appalled by the sight of the eyed arm. Subsonic narrowed her eyes behind her mask. No, that can't be it. The one in his eye socket would suffice for that. An abundance of eyes means he has something else planned for them. But for what reason would someone need so many dash? She stopped herself when it hit her. Oh crap. You know something? Yakumo asked. There's only one reason someone would require multiple Sharingans in their body. And that's so they can use a technique that ends up costing the use of a single Sharingan multiple times. He's using the forbidden technique Izanagi. Subsonic looked right in Yakumo's eyes. Yondaime-sama is in trouble. Nothing he does now can hurt that man. But maybe you can. Me? How? He's using a very powerful genjutsu. One that allows him to temporarily alter the reality of himself and his jutsu. He can make reality fake and illusion real for a short time, but with those eyes he can do it more than once. The only way to beat him that I can think of is to hit him with an even stronger reality-altering genjutsu. Subsonic explained. Yakumo gasped, getting the message. But I don't know if I can. If you don't try, he's going to win and turn you into his slave. He's going to be a demon that you can't get out your head. Did you trade one monster for another? Subsonic pressed. Yakumo frowned and shook her head, remembering the fight Naruto had with the ID demon. No, I'm finally free of something else controlling me and I'm not going back to that. She looked at Danzu, still fighting Minato. I've got an idea, if Yondaime-sama can hold him for just a bit longer. She began to draw. Damn, if only I was faster, I wouldn't have to settle for fighting just here. Danzu rued, wishing he had the mobility of his youth and could take the battle to a more preferable environment. A large toad ambushed him and spat out a great deal of oil. Danzu slashed it with his sword, cutting open the belly and making it bleed before it dispelled. Minato made a brief appearance behind the Warhawk while he was occupied and hit him with a fire ignition seal. The crippled elder went up in flames, only to reappear unharmed in a different spot. It's futile, Yondaime, you cannot win. He proclaimed, holding up his right arm, grasping his sword as if to fend off any additional attack. Even if you defeat me here, Danzu, you'll never get what you want. The yellow flash countered. What makes you so sure? Danzu asked. Because Danzu, in your effort to ensure you will become Hokage, you've guaranteed you never can be. Minato claimed with a smile. Danzu frowned and arched an eyebrow at the same time. And how do you figure that? Well, speaking as someone who has held the title, the Hokage has to be many things. A powerful ninja who can stand up to any enemy is obvious, but that's not the dominating factor. The Hokage must be someone the village can trust their safety to, someone they can trust to be rational and not tyrannical. I'm not a tyrant. All I want is what's best for Konoha. Danzu insisted. Go ahead and tell yourself that, Danzu, the evidence says otherwise. The evidence shows you're willing to enslave children to ensure they can only use their talents in ways you permit. It shows that when the village is in trouble you save yourself and leave the village to fight for itself. It shows you're willing to steal clan property for yourself, and if you can do this kind of thing to your own body you'll have no problem doing this or worse to others. All for the greater good. Danzu claimed. Everything for Konoha is and will always be the greater good. That's why the younger shinobi look to the older shinobi for a future. To show them how great they are. To show them the future and what to fight for. That's what I've been doing for all these years, trying to show them what it takes to be exceptional. Danzu, look at yourself. You call this exceptional? I call you an old man who forced others to be what I'm assuming were involuntary donors for yourself and made yourself look like a monster. You tried to enslave a girl, and who knows how many other children you've done this to. You hid yourself when Konoha was in trouble instead of defend the village you love. What about the next time it happens? You gonna go scurry away like a rat again and leave your soldiers to die protecting the village that you claim is your responsibility? No one in their right mind would support such a person as a Hokage. I won't give them a choice. Danzu declared. Minato shook his head. And you say you're not a tyrant. In your mad quest to ensure your rise to power, you've alienated yourself from the very people you would have had power over. Something that the Uchiha clan knew all too well, but you obviously knew that seeing you stole from them. So tell me, Danzu, what's the point of being Hokage if no one likes you? Danzu scoffed. You think I care if I'm liked? I never once said I wanted to be Hokage to be liked. I want it because I want power. I want authority. I want everyone to do what I say, to prove my way of doing things is the right way. I want to prove the Nidaime was wrong for not picking me. I want Before he could rant more, the old warhawk felt a barrage of senbon come at him from every direction all at once, with the exceptions of underneath himself and from Minato's direction. The senbon came quickly, and before he could dodge they turned him into a human pincushion, hitting everywhere including his many sharingans. But then Danzu faded out of existence for a moment, and the senbon poofed into non-existence themselves. Minato had placed several shadow clones secretly all around, and they all used the shadow senbon jutsu to strike in a way that was too much for an old man to do anything about even with 12 eyes. Danzu then faded back into existence. Nice try, Yondaime, but not nice enough. You have to kill me many times before I stay dead. I only have to kill you once, and once that is done not even Orochimaru will bring you back. True, but you have to hit me first, and you still haven't realized yet what my real plan is. Minato activated the Hiraishin and left. What does he mean by dash? Danzu asked himself, only to be hit by a quick attack from behind with a kunai cutting him on the left upper arm, just below the shoulder. He turned to look, but he saw nothing but the wound, no attacker or weapon. Worst part was the wound hurt but wasn't significant enough to warrant using Izanagi to remove. Then he felt another attack, this one being a clean cut to his right Achilles tendon, making him unable to stand anymore. That one did require Izanagi, which he used to undo the damage and become intact again. Damn, this is how he beat his enemies, by moving so fast they didn't know he was there until it was too late to stop him. And here I thought it only worked on large groups, not individuals. Danzu rude. Wait, if he can get this close to me this quickly, then he must have a marker by me to anchor his jutsu. With that, Danzu began to head off into the forest, wanting to get out of range of the Hiraishin markers. But before he could, Yakumo appeared from her hiding spot, frowning firmly at the warhawk and holding her sketchpad to her chest. Danzu grinned. So you've come to your senses, eh? Rather than respond, Yakumo opened up her sketchpad and showed him her latest drawing. Your trick isn't AGH. Danzu was interrupted when he felt the drawing the young brunette made become real for it. On the paper was a picture of his arm and face, drawn with kunais piercing each sharingan. It was drawn well but rather simply, detailed enough to get the genjutsu across. The old warhawk felt it in each and every eye on his body, including his one original eye left. He felt them rip open as if cut by a blade and bleed profusely. The pain was excruciating, and despite it he tried to invoke Izanagi, but the pain only continued. What's going on? Why can't I rid myself of this devastation? He asked himself, forcing himself to open his one normal and undamaged eye to look at the damage. Each Sharingan on his person was bleeding profusely and forced close by the body's natural instinct to cover a bothered eye. She destroyed my Sharingans and with them any jutsu they provide me. She actually beat the supreme genjutsu. With a genjutsu no less. If Danzu found irony humorous, this would have been a riot to him. Excellent work Yakumo-chan. Subsonic praised while reappearing next to the girl, then turned to the wounded elder. Now Danzu, do you give up, or do we have to make you give up? Danzu lightly laughed. Make me give up? How do you plan to do that? If you plan on using that girl as leverage against me, it won't work. I may want her alive, but I won't lose any sleep if she dies. No one in this village will. They fear her power almost as much as they fear the bijou. Who said we were using her? Subsonic asked, then patted Yakumo's shoulder. Should you kill him? Yakumo asked. He's harmless, can't really do anything now other than kill himself. Subsonic replied. But he is dangerous, and possibly has extra Sharingan in storage somewhere to replace any he loses, so we're not going to let him live. Allow me. Minato said, appearing from above Danzu, two Razengans ready in his hands. He rammed them right into Danzu's shoulders, shredding the flesh then bone, cleaving the arms from his body. Both arms. The old man yelled obscenities while yelling in pain, and called out for his root agents. Unfortunately for him they had already been taken down by Subsonic and her assistants while Minato had been keeping Danzu busy. After a bit the pain decreased just enough that Danzu could ask something. Why haven't you killed me yet and gotten it over with? Strategy mostly. Minato answered cryptically. Danzu fumed despite the agony he was still in. But without his arms or Sharingans he couldn't do anything. He couldn't even use his suicide Mokuton technique anymore in a last-ditch effort to kill them with him. Damn you Namikes. Damn you to hell. Your new village will be destroyed by Konoha even if I'm not the one leading the war. A kick to his head shut him up, but didn't kill him. You talk too much, old man. Subsonic stated, then looked to Yakumo. Do you want to go? We're not forcing you. But keep in mind we can't remove this unless we go to Oto. And if the seal stays on, who knows what else it can do to you? Minato asked, then glanced at her sketchpad. Looks like your uncle thinks it's a good idea. What do you mean? She asked, looking at the message written in blood. What does safe and sound mean to you? It doesn't say safe and sound, dear, it says safe and sound. Subsonic corrected. Your uncle was telling you to come with us. But why would he say that? Yakumo asked, not seeing why he'd make such a suggestion. At the same time Minato created another Rasengan and used it to decapitate Danzu, finally killing him. Some ready-to-make fire seals were used to destroy his body before any hidden deadman switch seals could activate on him, which was the real reason they hadn't been in such a hurry to kill Danzu. Subsonic smiled under her mask. Let's just say someone in Oto wants to see you, and you want to see them. Plus it's the only place where we can ensure you're safe from anyone else in Konoha that knows to use the seal on you. What are the odds that this man is the only one who knew about it? Who wants to see me? Yakumo asked. You'll see when you get there. By the way, Subsonic, don't you want to see your son while you're here? Minato asked. The disguised Uchiha matriarch shook her head. No, it's too soon for that. He needs more time to work things out. But soon, I will come back for him. She looked to Yakumo. You coming? Yakumo looked at her sketchpad, and cried for her uncle. I suppose I will. But can you help my uncle? We already have, and he understands everything. Subsonic told the girl. Alright, let's go. With that, the two visitors from Oto left, taking with them another of Konoha's members. And the village was unaware it had even happened. But one person knew what happened. Sai quickly wrote down Danzo-sama has been killed. The Inkyused morphed into a mouse and ran off to Root headquarters to let all who supported the Warhawk of his demise. Danzo-sama will be avenged. The pale boy vowed. When Naruto came back to Oto, he chose to enter through the gate Taiyuya guarded. Part of it was to say hi to her in the process, and part of it was because he trusted her to know the difference between him and a disguise better. Hi Naruto, welcome home. Taiyuya greeted kindly, then looked at Hinata. So tell me girl, how good is he in the sack? Both teens' faces turned red. I'm not discussing that here. Hinata claimed. Come on, give me something. I've got nothing else to think about sitting here all damn day long. Taiyuya-chan. Naruto warned. Alright, keep your panties on Naruto-kun. Though you can take mine off if you want. The flutist teased, enjoying his blush. On a serious note, you two need to stay here for a moment. I'm required to call someone to escort you. Taiyuya stated before tapping her radio headset. Escort? Why? Naruto asked. The redhead ignored them. North Gate to Central, I've got you-know-who here. Request escort to Otokage Tower. Affirmative, Alto will be sent there shortly. Kimimaro said on the other end. Taiyuya ended the transmission. Sorry about this, but security is going to be a bit tight in the village for a while. Why? What happened? Hinata asked. I think Otokage-sama can explain it better than me. All I can say is some strange shit is going on here and if we're not careful we could all be royally fucked sideways soon. And not in the way you and I want it girl. She said, specifically speaking to Hinata at that last part. Is anyone in danger? Naruto asked. Again, Otokage-sama can tell it better. She replied, then saw a masked Alto arrive. Naruto Uzumaki and Hinata Uzumaki? The Alto greeted. We know it's you Guren. Naruto said. The Alto moved her mask, showing it was indeed the crystal wielder, before putting it back in place. Just doing my job kids. Come with me. You two enjoy yourselves. Taiyuya calmly added before allowing them to enter the village. As they walked with Guren covering for them Naruto and Hinata looked quite surprised. Something's up. Taiyuya-chan always has something to say, even if she doesn't always censor how she says it. Naruto thought out loud. I'm also concerned about Fu. Hinata commented. What do you think she's going to do once she sees you? Nothing that will hurt me. Oh, I'm not worried about her hurting you. I'm more concerned about her wanting to skip ahead to the honeymoon. It's not like I can't tell her no if she tried. Naruto replied. Hinata nodded. Oh, I know, but... I'm not sure how to say this, but let's just say when we girls were talking about being with you in bed, she got so descriptive in her plans I think Hanabi lost her virginity to it. Well, that's a bad mental image. Naruto joked, making Hinata and Guren chuckle. What exactly did she say? I can't remember anything specific, but it might have been why I was so frisky when you were with me. I just know that she might not want to wait until you're officially married. And if she does even half the stuff she mentioned, I think it will you who's too sore to walk straight the next day. You're exaggerating. Hinata gave him a teasing smirk. Oh, am I? See for yourself. Don't encourage the boy. Guren warned. The two continued their walk to the Otokage Tower, undisturbed by others. Guren took them right to the main office. Luckily Orochimaru wasn't busy so he could see them right away. Hello Otokage-sama, the ones you wanted are here as requested. Thank you Guren. You may return to your normal duty. Orochimaru said. Guren bowed and left. Welcome back kids. Did you have fun? The snake Sannin asked. That's private. Naruto stated. I'll take that as a yes. Orochimaru said with a chuckle. And here I thought your teammate was the pervert of you three. Naruto commented. Hey, I may not be as open about it, but I'm not a virgin either, Naruto. I've had my share of ladies in the past. We don't need to hear about your sex life. Hinata told him. Not even a little. It might benefit Naruto to know a few things that even Jiraiya might not know. Orochimaru offered. No thanks, I'm with one of my girls, I don't want them wondering which old man gave me advice for what I'm doing to them. Naruto claimed. Hinata withheld a sigh of relief. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Orochimaru shrugged. Alright then. I didn't call you here because of that topic. That was just to break the ice. I need to tell you several things that came up while you were gone. We were only gone 2 nights. Naruto stated. A lot can happen in 2 nights. Just like I'm sure you did a lot in those 2 nights. Anyway, first thing I should tell you is promotions will be announced this weekend once a few more decisions are made, and while I can't confirm or deny who gets promoted, it would be, to your advantage, to wed Fu tonight. Tomorrow at the latest. Naruto nodded. I understand. Second thing I should tell you is Tsunade requested to see your wife today when you got back. I think she wants to know how likely it is you two will have children this soon. Orochimaru added. Do you know if her curiosity is valid? Hinata stepped forward. I'm not sure. I have no problem with the exam you're saying she has in mind, but I'm not sure myself what to expect. In the heat of the moment, Orochimaru held up a hand. You kids don't want to hear about my sex life any more than I want to hear about yours. Thanks, Jizan. Naruto said gratefully. And the last thing I want to mention is good job handling those guys who ambushed you on your day away. Orochimaru added. When a toad showed up with 2 babies saying it was from you, you can probably imagine what our initial reactions were. The 2 teens nodded. Once we got over that, we saw your note and the robes you sent along. Jiraiya got bothered, but for a professional reason this time. He knows who these guys work for. Really? Naruto and Hinata asked. Orochimaru nodded. He called them Akatsuki. They're a group of missing nin, all supposedly S-ranked, with roughly 9 official members and their own spy network of unofficial members, if you will. He's not sure what their exact goal is, but he can say with certainty that they want to obtain all the bijou. Naruto and Hinata were wide-eyed, and Hinata grabbed his hand as if to keep him from leaving. Naruto slowly shook his head. Then that explains the need for an escort. Though how could they have found me? How could they know I was a Jinchuriki and where I was on that day? Orochimaru closed. It's apparent that there is a spy in our village, letting the outside world know about Oto. The fact that you were located is not proof enough. What is proof enough is that while you were gone, an attempt was made on Fu's life by presumably the same organization. What? Naruto asked in disbelief. Is she alright? Orochimaru nodded. She is fine, they underestimated her and were unable to capture her. But they were able to get inside the village, which means they were informed on where Oto is and knew how to get past our defenses. Do you have any suspects? Hinata asked. Our first line of suspects is our gate guards. The Snake Sannin admitted. Naruto tensed. Wait, you can't mean Naruto, think about it. Orochimaru interrupted. Someone had to tell these guys how to get in the village. It would be unprofessional to not even consider the possibility that one of the guards allowed them to enter, rather missed them. We had to interrogate them all, even Taiyuya. Though personally, I doubt she was the one. Why would she help someone who threatens you? What did you find? Naruto asked, almost afraid of the answer. I'm not sure, the T&I department is still going over data. But for now it's safe to say that she and the others weren't in on it. Which means we'll have to question all Alto Station that night. And the T&I department too, since we took 2 hostages and they managed to escape from a secure room. Wow, who interrogates the interrogators? Naruto asked. Leave that to us. Now, I suggest you two go enjoy being home. Hinata, go see Tsunade before it gets too late, and while she's doing that Naruto should go see Fu. I think she could use your company more than anyone else's right now. Orochimaru suggested. The 2 teens nodded. Thank you, Otokage-sama. Fu was in her home, unable to relax or feel safe despite the reset traps. She sat on her couch, disconnected from the world. Her only company at the moment was her sensei Kurenai. I wish I could say this was the only time something like this will happen, Fu-chan, but sadly a reality of kunoichi work is attempted kidnapping. The red-eyed woman said, seated across from her student. Wow, that makes me feel so much better. Fu said sarcastically. I'll have you know someone once tried kidnapping me when I was younger. Kurenai proclaimed. Fu arched an eyebrow. You never said that before. I'm sure you can easily understand why. Fu slowly nodded. Yeah, you're right. What happened, since you're still here? Kurenai relaxed a bit. It was back when I was a genin, and we didn't let others know we were of Oto just yet. My team and I were posing as Tsunanin to check out some potentially new lethal weapons made by the famous artisan village. But isn't that exactly what they're supposed to make? Fu asked, not seeing the need for a mission. Yes, but the artisan village is always a touchy subject in the ninja world. They have no allegiance to any of the hidden villages, claiming neutrality much like the Land of Iron does. But that's really just a mask for them. You see, the village sells its weapons to the other villages, with their neutrality being a means to have multiple clients. So basically they're neutral for economic reasons rather than pacifist reasons. Wait, does that mean they do what we call selling to both sides? Fu asked. Kurenai nodded. Yes, they do. They've made a lot of money over the years by selling one set of weapons to one village then another set to another village, especially during a war. Sometimes they even charge more to give weapons that are supposed to destroy the weapons of the other village. This of course makes them a lot of enemies. Then why haven't they been attacked yet? Fu asked. The main idea is that even though we all know what they do, attacking the artisans will risk upsetting other villages who still want their weapons, as well as make the attacking village look suspicious to the others. Say for example we invaded and destroyed the artisan village. What would others think about Oto? Fu shrugged. First Konoha and now them, boy Oto loves invading? Kurenai shook her head. No. Well, actually you might be right, but the point I was trying to make was anyone who tried to destroy that village would likely take something back with them. Fu silently awed in understanding. I see. To others, it would look like we stole the best weapons for ourselves and maybe stole their secrets to making more weapons as well. Making us the new targets and potential, both side sellers in the process. Yes, so none of us can really attack the village without it potentially starting another war. For the most part, the best stance we can take regarding the artisans is, buyer beware. Anyway, my team and I were checking out reports of Konoha buying weapons from them, and we learned they were hoping to stockpile since they were without a Jinchuriki. Fu nodded. A major village without a Jinchuriki is bound to seek alternatives. We got there and sure enough some Konoha nin were there to try and pick up their order. The situation kind of forced us into a fight. My genjutsu wasn't as strong as it is now, so I ended up getting captured by one of them. Did you kill him? Fu asked. He wasn't killed, at least not when I was around. He was interested in taking me back to Konoha to learn more about Suna, since he thought I was from there. Probably wanted to learn some secrets to crossing their desert, or about their own Jinchuriki. I couldn't blow my cover, so I fought him with everything I had. He was tough, but I managed to escape. I didn't see him again. What if he was there in Konoha when we invaded? Fu asked. Kurenai shrugged. He might have been, I wouldn't have recognized him. Only thing I can remember about him was his hair was sort of like a black version of Naruto's own. And he had these strange knives with him. He was powerful, I'll give him that, but he was easy to distract, so I just had to time a genjutsu right to get away. Though I couldn't resist leaving a nice little scar on his jaw. If I saw him in Konoha, I would have recognized that scar immediately. Unless he got it healed or covered it with something like a mask or beard. Fu pointed out. Good point, but it's enough that he didn't recognize me if he was there. Anyway, my point is there's always going to be someone wanting to take you as a prize. As a kunoichi, that's kind of our biggest drawback, but it's also an advantage because it means the enemy prefers us alive. Leaving someone alive always gives them an opportunity to retaliate. Hence why one of the kunoichi-only classes is resistance and escape. Fu nodded. Definitely useful. So much more important than something like flower arranging. Anyway, taking classes for the inevitable never really makes handling the situation easier to handle. Same with killing people. You got lucky that people could respond quickly and Kurenai started, but stopped when Fu held up a hand to silence her. Something wrong? Not really, Kurenai-sensei, but I think you misread me. The green-haired girl told her. I never said I was worried about me. Kurenai was confused, then realized what her student meant. Fu looked distressed, and Kurenai had assumed she was coping with the realization that Oto's security system wasn't as good as everyone thought it was. And a person who can't feel safe at home can't feel safe anywhere. Not to mention some of the people involved hoped to take her back to Taki against her will. It was only natural to assume she was in need of reassurance, which Kurenai tried to provide. Then what's got you so melancholy? Kurenai asked. I worry that someone like them tried to get Naruto-kun and he might not be coming home. Fu admitted. I should have known. Kurenai thought yet smiled. Oh, you know that boy. You think that he's easier to catch than you? Haven't you ever worried for someone's safety even if you knew they were safe? Fu rhetorically asked. Good point. The red-eyed woman admitted. So you just want him to show up? That will make you feel better? Fu nodded. But not just for his safety, right? You want him here for a more personal reason, don't you? Can you blame me? Nope. Though I wonder if you leaving the village so soon is the wisest thing. Those guys might try a second attempt. Kurenai pointed out. Yeah, but right away should be too risky for any attempt to be worth it. Plus, who said I had to go out of town for my honeymoon? I'm good with it being here in my apartment. Fu claimed. There was a knock at the door, a rhythm of exactly 7 knocks telling her whoever showed up was familiar with Fu's defenses. Both women looked at it, then each other. Go ahead. Kurenai said, prompting Fu to answer the door. Yes? She asked when she opened it, then gasped when she saw who was there. Nah. Naruto-kun? You were expecting someone else? He teased. He was cut off by her suddenly hugging him tightly. You okay? I am now that you're here. Kurenai got up. Well, I guess my work is done here. She had to move carefully around the two, looking at Naruto in the process. Be good to her. She silently mouthed the whiskered blonde before leaving them alone. Let's go inside. Naruto suggested, and Fu nodded. What happened last night? He asked when the door was closed. What makes you think anything happened? Fu asked back, trying to put on a tough front, but the fact that she hadn't yet released him kind of countered that. Otokage-sama said some men tried to break into your home. Fu sighed and let go of Naruto to sit down. Yeah, in fact 2 did. It was pretty hilarious watching them fall victim to my traps. she said with a smile. When I went outside there were more out there waiting for me, aware of what I am. They intended to take me back to Taki as a bargaining chip. Bet that struck a nerve with you. Naruto mentioned, sitting down next to her on the couch. It did, but what really worried me was the thought that someone was after you at the same time. If they could find me, what guarantee was there that they couldn't find you too? Fu replied. Naruto paused for a moment. Actually, someone did. Fu paled. What? He nodded. Yeah, I woke up and these two guys in black cloaks were asking me to come with them. Long story short, I turned them into babies and had a toad bring them here. I figured the people in charge would want to see for themselves. Also, one of them is Subsonic's other son. Fu arched an eyebrow. The one that killed the entire clan? If I were her I'd leave him a baby and raise him right this time. Naruto shrugged. I thought the same, but it's ultimately her call. Fu leaned against Naruto. Naruto-kun, will you stay with me tonight? I really would feel better sleeping tonight knowing you're right there next to me. I think so, I'm sure Hina-chan will understand. After all, if we get married tomorrow then being together tonight actually Naruto-kun, I don't want to wait for tomorrow. I want to marry you today. Fu requested. Really? But there's no way to set up a ceremony in time. Then we'll skip it, save it for later. We can make the actual marriage legal today and save the big fancy stuff for later. Right now, I just want to know that nothing will ever be able to come between us again. Naruto didn't know what to say. You sure about this? Very sure Naruto-kun. I can't help but feel Taki is going to make a move soon. Please do this for me. Naruto hugged her. Anything for you Fu-chan. That night, Naruto and Fu were back in her apartment, but this time it was as husband and wife. Orochimaru had no problem with granting their request, and Naruto had a clone go keep Hinata company so she wouldn't be ignored. He felt a bit guilty about having Hinata be with a clone, but the thing about a harem was sometimes one of the girls would get all his attention and they all had to learn to handle that. Tonight was Fu's turn. Fu was smiling brightly, as if now nothing could sour her mood. Finally, I'm no longer a Takino. I always hated that name, had to use it at Taki's request like it was some reminder of their claim to me. Good riddance, Fu Uzumaki sounds so much better. I wonder what my parents will think once they find out. Naruto thought out loud. Both Kushina and Minato were busy that afternoon, making him wonder why, but he didn't dwell on it. Fu deserved his attention more today. I'm sure they'll be fine. They didn't object when you introduced me to them. Now Naruto-kun, wait here a bit. I want to surprise you with something. Oh? Like what? It wouldn't be much of a surprise if I told you now, would it? Fu teased before disappearing into her room. I wonder if she's got some kind of sexy nightwear like Hina-chan did. The blonde boy wondered. Moments later the door opened and Fu came out dressed in something different than her normal all-white ensemble, but it wasn't lingerie. Rather she wore a loose soft mint blouse with her shoulders exposed and blue shorts on, the overall effect being clothes for someone comfortable and without any intention of going outside anytime soon. Looks nice. Naruto said, a bit disappointed that Fu didn't dress more sexily. Thanks, but I just needed something simple so I don't mess up my work clothes. Fu said before going into the kitchen and donning an apron. Ah, she must want to cook something for me instead of going right for sex. Naruto realized. You want me to help? Fu shook her head but smiled. Thanks for offer, but no. I want the first thing I do for you as your wife to be make one of the best meals you've ever eaten. Her eyes then got a sultry look to them. Then, you can eat me. Wow, thanks Fu-chan. Though I'm sure I'll like anything you make. Ah, and I went to all that trouble to get the best ingredients I could. The green-haired girl mock-whined, then went for a storage scroll. It wasn't easy getting this, you know. She unsealed a wrapped-up piece of pink meat the size of most prime ribs. What is it? Naruto asked. Something I spotted on a mission before the exams and kept carefully preserved. My team wanted us all to eat it that night, and I was tempted to do that, but I made the kill and I said I wanted to share this with you on our wedding night. My team accepted, but boy were they upset they couldn't have any. I might have to save them some leftovers just to make it up to them. That still doesn't tell me what this is. Naruto reminded her. In short, this is a striped moon rabbit. Fu admitted. Naruto gasped and looked like someone was just offering him free ramen for life. You actually got one? For real? Fu nodded. Thank you so much for saving me some. The striped moon rabbit was a rare animal in the elemental nations, rare enough that some places considered it an endangered species or non-existent. Sadly, it wasn't protected by endangered species laws because rabbits were a staple of traveling ninja diets and a hungry ninja needed to take what they could hunt rather than look for something else. The rabbit itself was white with black-brown stripes going horizontally over it, and considered in the ninja world to have the most delicious meat of all animals. Sadly, because of its rarity, most ninja went their entire lives without ever tasting it themselves. No problem. Now, how do you want this prepared? I can't believe I'm saying this, but something like this is too special to waste on ramen. Naruto said. I agree. How about a stew? Fu suggested. Naruto nodded. Sounds good to me. Satisfied, Fu took out a knife and started chopping up the meat. Glad I already took the bones out. Can you pull out some carrots and oil? I'll get the other ingredients. No problem. Naruto said, looking in her fridge for the requested items. Carrots in a rabbit stew. Sounds like a joke waiting to be made. If you got one, go ahead and make it. Fu said, pulling some seasoning out of her pantry. Not yet, but it will come to me later. For most of the preparation Fu worked on her own, never once referencing a cookbook as if she had memorized the entire recipe. And when it was simmering on her stove she worked on some side dishes, looking like she was completely in her element. This was a side of Fu Naruto was unfamiliar with. I knew she could cook, but I never really saw how much she enjoyed it. Or is it because she's doing it for me that makes her enjoy it this much? I gotta say, I'm really flattered. Fu said nothing as she worked, in her own little world until the meal was finished and she put it on her table. Ready. To her surprise, Naruto had grabbed the plates and chopsticks. You don't have to do all the work, you know. I don't need 9 or 10 women to take care of me like some kid. I know, but that doesn't mean we can't do anything for you. She told him, then went up and kissed him, extending it a bit longer than she had to. Come on, let's eat. Fu decided the sizes of both portions and as a sign of consideration to her team put some aside in containers. The side dishes were rice and biscuits which both got to pick for themselves. Naruto was the first one to taste the stew, and once he did he paused. How is it? Fu asked, hoping he liked it. She tasted the broth while cooking it to make sure it was cooking properly, but not the meat itself. It is the best thing I've ever tasted in my life. Naruto admitted. If it wasn't rude, I'd be scarfing this down like ramen. Wow, you love it and will eat it at a slow pace. I suppose for you that's the greatest stamp of approval you can give. Fu teased, making Naruto chuckle. She ate a piece of meat too and hummed in pleasure as the flavor danced on her tongue. Oh, you were not exaggerating. This is incredible. It's such a shame I'll probably never get my hands on this meat again in my life. Conversation was hearty and cheery for them both, reminiscing old times and places they wanted to see. When they were done eating, both leaned back and relaxed. Man, you sure did a good job with that Fu-chan. Naruto complimented. Thanks. I hope you saved room for dessert. She said. I don't know, that depends on what you have. He replied. Close your eyes and wait there. Let me get it for you. He obeyed and heard her move around. Wait, I didn't see her make any dessert. Did she buy something when I wasn't around? Open your eyes. He did, but he couldn't see Fu. Since the voice came from behind him, he turned that way and his eyes widened. Fu was standing in her doorway completely naked, hiding nothing and twirling a pair of panties on her index finger before letting it fly to him, hitting him in the face. Come and get it. She said seductively before disappearing into her room. I hope at least one of my wives will let me make the first move for our first time. Naruto thought as he stood up. I should try that next time. He went into her room, and saw her seated on her futon with her legs wide open, leaning back on her arms. Her breasts weren't the highlight of her figure, but her hips and pussy definitely drew enough attention to make up for it. And like Naruto already knew, she was a natural green. I know I'm no Hinata, but I hope my body pleases you. Fu said, sounding a bit uncertain. Naruto knelt down in front of her. I don't want all of you to look alike or act alike. I have enough clones in my life, I don't need to be married to one. Fu smiled. Thanks, now put your mouth to a better use. And I'll do the same. Smirking, Naruto dove down and began licking the green-haired girl. She moaned as she went slow on her slit, prompting her to push his head into her more. Like she wanted him to wear her like a mask. More. Faster. Naruto pulled away. Is that how you intend to put your mouth to a better use? Taking the challenge, Fu laid down and used her legs to encourage the whiskered blonde to move himself atop her. Unlike her, he was still dressed, so she pulled down his pants, bucking her own hips while he worked her nethers. His boxers didn't go as easily, but she got them down, and paused to enjoy the sight presented to her. Yep, can't find something this good in Taki. She joked, giving Naruto a brief chance to work on taking his own pants off too, which she helped him do. After that he went back to work on her, and she went to work on him. I'm not sure how to describe the taste, but it's a little muskier than kissing him. Fu sucked on Naruto with a slow patient pace, letting him enjoy the act and come to his own release, also mimicking the pace he was setting on her. Once he picked up his pace, she did the same, and she could tell he was getting the message. Naruto licked and fingered her, and Fu played with his testicles in a harmless way too. After a bit Naruto used his fingers to pull Fu's lips apart and inserted his tongue, wiggling it around inside her. The girl lost it, feeling as if all her sensitive spots were being tickled, and had to release Naruto before she possibly bit him by mistake. Ah! Ah! More, don't stop! She yelled, her thighs holding his head in a vice grip. Her orgasm came like a waterfall. Naruto looked up to see her on her back looking up at the ceiling panting, not even reacting to him moving off of her. He removed his shirt, leaving him as nude as she was, and she still was unresponsive. Wondering how far he could go, he crawled up to her and grabbed her hips, aligning himself to her opening. I wonder if this counts as rape. He briefly thought, then shook it off. Yeah right, like she'd ever think that. Being cautious but playful he began to push inside her. The feeling of her walls being spread apart by an intruder was what made Fu return to Earth right then. Naruto-kun? She asked, looking at him as she felt her hymen rip and his hips press up against her own. Good, you're back. He said, holding himself in place for her, then pulled back and thrust back into her, making her gasp. Tell me Fu-chan, are you using birth control or are you hoping for a child tonight? He asked while moving back and forth. Fu grabbed his shoulders and held him with her legs, loving the feeling of him dominating her. I used a special, birth control jutsu. Gasp, your mom gave me 4, female Jinchuriki. I do want your child, but, oh yeah, harder. I mean, I want to key off my back first. Naruto kept thrusting more per her request. I understand. And you wanted to have your bloodline? Fu nodded, but it just looked like she was being pounded more. Yes, if you pant, don't mind. Not at all. He said. I'm gonna come. Do it. I want it inside, child or not. Fu requested. Naruto sped up, going at her like a hammer, then climaxed like an explosion. Feeling his cum flow into her gave her a shuddering orgasm of her own. Panting heavily, Naruto withdrew and laid down on top of her, and she held him like a teddy bear. Both felt like they could go again, maybe even more, yet another benefit to being a Jinchuriki, but they had to pause a bit to let themselves really enjoy it. This time I'll be the forceful one. Fu thought before gently pushing Naruto off her and on his back. Before he could protest, she crawled atop him and grabbed his dick, inserting it into herself again, taking him all the way to the hilt in one motion. With the pain gone, she smirked. Here's something I wanted to try with you. Let me know if it starts to hurt. Naruto was tempted to ask, but tonight Fu had clearly favored showing her answer rather than telling them, so he nodded and let her proceed. Fu enacted her bloodline and slowly began to shrink at a sedate pace, which caused her vagina to become increasingly tighter around Naruto. Naruto winced after she contracted several centimeters. Too tight. Sorry. Fu said, then got a little bigger. This better? Much. Naruto said, and Fu began going up and down on him at a slow pace. Gotta admit, I never thought you could use your bloodline like this. I thought about a lot of ways to please you in bed. Fu mentioned, picking up the pace a little. Naruto started moving his hips with hers. So I heard. And I bet you don't plan on stopping until you've done each and every one of them. Well, all the ones we're currently equipped for. Some of them required accessories, and other girls. Naruto put his hands on her breasts. I'm almost afraid to ask what your kinkiest idea is. Fu was thrusting too much to bother responding at this point. All she wanted was another climax. She even tried growing and shrinking in a rhythm to encourage it to come quicker. Naruto-kun. She cried out when it came. Fu-chan. Naruto answered when he had his own. This time Fu was lying down atop Naruto. You up for more? Oh, I intend to make you be the one who asks us to stop tonight. Naruto teased. Fu grinned. Oh, you think you can outlast me? Girls always have the advantage in sexual stamina. We'll see about that. Naruto told her, making her grin more. All of the ninja who had been in the Chunin exams had gathered in the Otokage Tower, even those that didn't make it to the finals. They stood in the council meeting room, with Orochimaru, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Minato together on the other end, all four adults smiling. I'm glad you all showed up, children. Orochimaru started. We have been reviewing your performances and evaluations, not just for the exams themselves but for the assault on Konoha. Deciding who was ready for promotion was no easy feat, not to mention there was other things going on we needed to focus on. Minato added. Anyway, let's start with the reviews, one genin at a time. Orochimaru said, taking out some paper from a portfolio in his hand. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, you showed great stealth skills and smart thinking by hiding the majority of your skills within Konoha's walls. That kind of restraint is admirable and shows a level of responsibility above genin. You were able to defend your teammates without needless flair and confuse your opponents rather than simply use brute force. While you could stand to learn more, you have done well with what you have. Therefore, we hereby promote you to Chunin. Tsunade handed the blonde boy a green vest and he accepted with a bow. No one present was really surprised to see him get this. Hinata Uzumaki, you showed mastery of a fighting style still in the developing stages, and we believe you will make it greater. You stood up to those that were deadlier than you and came out alive, even managing to kill a few in the process. Some reports say you sort of took a few things personally, most notably your claim on your teammate, but sources say that issue is resolved. Before I make it official, we have one question for you. Orochimaru said. Are you intending to get pregnant or taking any measures to prevent it? Tsunade asked for the Hokage, feeling her asking it would be less embarrassing for the girl. Well. The white-eyed girl started, unsure how to answer. I'm not trying to prevent it. In that case, we will await final judgment until after a proper medical check to confirm or deny a possible pregnancy and establish either a birth control system or a planned pregnancy. If you are now or intend to become pregnant in due time, then it would be pointless to promote you only to take you off the active roster. Orochimaru stated. Hinata nodded, seeing the reasoning. Isaribi Meikai, you showed superb fighting skills and a good command of the battlefield. However, you currently seem to be stuck in a comfort zone, one that Konoha is now familiar with. We believe you need to diversify your skills and regain the element of surprise. So for the time being, you will remain a genin. Yes, Hokage-sama. Isaribi said. Zaku Abumi, you are brave and formidable, willing to stand down any attack you faced. However, you got carried away, almost giving the opponent the knowledge of how to defeat you. Though you were able to withstand one of Konoha's best jounins and survive the intense physical damage they gave you. We do not yet promote you, but we would like to say you are showing good progress. Zaku smiled, glad to get praise from his idol the Hokage. Dosu Kinyuta, you've shown a mastery of your weapon without limiting yourself solely to it. You need some more progress on your skills, but you are good at handling yourself. It was a rather difficult choice, but we have decided you would make a good Chunin. Really? Dosu asked, not expecting this. Tsunade handed him his vest but said nothing, though she did nod. Kintsuchi, you showed a great talent for applying genjutsu and attacking with weapons. And your well-timing of those skills may have kept your whole team from dying in the battle. You have the makings of a fine kunoichi who can work well alone or in teams, and we hereby promote you to Chunin. Kin beamed when Tsunade gave her a Chunin vest. Sasami Fuma, you did good in the prelims despite being outnumbered and outmatched in speed. And with your help in the invasion, one of Konoha's greater threats was neutralized, for a time at least. We believe you are ready to handle being a Chunin. Tsunade gave the orange-haired girl a vest, who smiled and nodded. Haku Momochi, you showed excellent deception and countering skills. While your performance in the finals was, odd to say the least, you were persistent and creative. After concluding that your little public display was not your fault but something you managed to turn to your advantage, we decided you are fit to be Chunin. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Haku said while taking her green vest. Uzumaki, your talents are nothing short of impressive. You fought those who naturally outclass you in every way and surpassed them. And without even trying, you helped take down some intruders into our village. For that we have no doubt that you are fit to be Chunin. In fact, we even considered the possibility of making you a Jounin. What? Fu asked, completely surprised. She wasn't the only one. Orochimaru nodded. The only thing you're lacking in is experience, but beyond that we feel you're worth consideration. For the time being we will promote you to Chunin, and if you believe you're up to it we will offer you a small test to see if you indeed can be Jounin at this age. Fu thought it over. Jounin at the age of 14 was not unheard of in the ninja world, but usually such promotions were made during war times. A promotion of this caliber during peace times, albeit on the verge of war but still relatively peaceful, said a lot about how highly they thought of her. But there was a nagging thought in her mind. This isn't just to keep me away from Taki, right? No, but I can see why you'd think that. Would you like the chance to see for yourself if you really deserve the rank? Orochimaru asked. Fu thought it over some more. What do I have to do? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe for more content. Support the original author by clicking their profile link in the pinned comment of the first video of this series. They deserve the love. Want early access and exclusive content? Join my Patreon community, link below. Your support fuels these videos. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next video. Stay entertained, stay safe.